I have a new favorite view of the garden. For whatever reason, I never stopped in this spot and turned and looked this way, but I think the garden, especially right now in the morning light, looks fantastic here. So I have a discussion point, thought on cucumber beetles, squash bugs, vine borers that I'd like to throw out there, either for other input or for people to try in the future, because I think I accidentally stumbled upon something that seems to be working in my garden. I had an old timer, oh goodness, 15, 20 years ago at a farmer's market. And when I say old timer, I say it with the utmost respect of somebody that has a ton of knowledge to share. But this old timer told me, you want to have a lot of little flowers in the garden. Like, you want to let your radishes blossom. You want to let your lettuce blossom. You want to let, all those little cilantro and those kind of things, let them just bolt and blossom because they bring in your beneficials. And I always kind of had that in the back of my head, and I would let that happen. But this year I let it happen more, again, unintentionally. I had rutabagas and turnips that were too small to harvest, like last fall, early winter. So I just left them in the ground. And they blossomed, and they were beautiful. We had a weird spring where it stayed really, really, really cold, and then we had a week of 80 degrees. So the radishes and arugula that I had planted went from really small to just bolting. So we had a ton of blossoms from them. And I observed something through all of this. I've had a lot of trouble with cucumber beetles, squash bugs, and vine borers, to the point that, I think last year we got one zucchini. Now, I don't plant a ton of zucchini, but the couple plants I planted weren't able to produce much fruit. Last year, our cucumbers were able to produce nothing. I don't even know if they got to the point of blossoming. They just got destroyed. And in years past, if you look at one of the blossoms, the yellow blossoms that attracts the cucumber beetles, it would be full. There'd be 4 or 5 cucumber beetles in every blossom. This year, let me show you our stuff here. This year, our cucumbers, we've harvested probably 15 pounds of cucumbers. Let me see, the glare is awful. But this trellis right here is where I'm trellising our cucumbers. Here, let me turn it around. So this is 4 cucumber plants. It's full, it's beautiful. When I start digging around there to harvest, I might see 1 cucumber beetle. I've seen no squash bugs in this. And then over here is where we have our winter squash. Okay, pardon me, I should have been out here a little bit early, but I was enjoying my first cup of coffee inside. So here are our winter squash. We're working on training them up the trellis here. But in years past, if I were to come to a blossom like this one, I would find cucumber beetles in here, and there are none. Now, I'm finding some. There's a few. But I used to be able to come down here and kind of just get stuck in this space, taking eggs, like squash bug eggs, off the underside of leaves in squash and beetles, and having a cup of water and trying to drop the beetles, shake the flower to drop the cucumber beetles out of the blossom and all of that. And it's way, way better this year. So my theory is that having the rutabagas and the turnips that blossomed early and had those tiny flowers very early, and then having a lot of flowers throughout, and then even now, right here, I planted radishes with all of my squash, and just with the intent of just letting them blossom. And caught on the chicken coop behind me. And I'm thinking there's something to this. So I'm curious, those of you that are out there that have tried something like this, have more knowledge than I do, or if you would just like to try it next year, like plant some turnips or rutabagas or something like that that can possibly overwinter and then blossom in the spring to pull in those beneficials. Intentionally plant some arugula and radishes and let them go to seed, like let them blossom, and kind of plant them succession, sow them with the intention of just letting them blossom to pull the pollinators in. I'm curious if you will have similar results. I would love to know, because it's one of those, there's so many variables in a garden every year. So I'm curious, have I stumbled upon something accidentally that helps a lot with those pests, helps keep things in balance? And let me know what you find, what you know, and thanks for watching.